Today we are going to do a new read assessment, which means that this is a test that I have of text that I have never read before. So when I look, I see that it is chapter 7. So I have to think back to what happened at the end of chapter 6. When we ended chapter 6, remember Milo and Talk were in prison with Faintly Macabre, and she explained why the world was kind of weird since Rhyme and Reason had been gone. So Milo and Talk decided, hey, let's go save Rhyme and Reason and bring sense back to the Kingdom of Wisdom. So they were in prison. They were supposed to be there for 6 million years, but Faintly says, you guys don't have to stay here. Just leave at that door. So they're walking out and they get picked up right in the beginning by the advisors. So we are on chapter 7. I know that this is a test. So instantly when I think test, I think unwrap. So write unwrap on your paper because good test takers unwrap. Good test takers underline the title. So the title of this chapter is The Royal Banquet. And once I start thinking about that title, I think, well, where are they? They're in Dictionopolis. And Dictionopolis is a city of words, and it is run by a king. And so I'm wondering if this royal banquet is when Milo is finally going to meet the king. And then I need to also preview the text. So I'm just looking through. I see page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I see pictures. I notice there's pictures. There's some pictures over here. And I see where I stop. Ooh, it looks like there's a brawl, another fight. So I'm making predictions. What do I think this chapter is going to be about? What do I think I'm going to read? How can I make connections to what I've already read? And then I'm going to number the paragraphs. I'm going to number the paragraphs on each page because this is a lot of pages. So remember, I know it's a new paragraph because it's indented. And I need to do this so that when I get to proving my answers, by the way, there's no indent here, so it's a new paragraph. I'm starting because it's a new page, so I'm starting back at number 1. Going to page 3. So we have numbered the paragraphs. Now we finally walk through the questions. So today we are only doing part 1 and part 2. So I'm going to circle part 1 and look for part 2, which is right here. And it goes on to page 3. So I'm stopping here at page 3. And I'm going to circle any important words. So the directions, obviously I need to read the directions. Read and annotate chapter 7. Remember, annotate means mark the text. What are the 5 things I'm looking for? I'm looking for who, what, when, what I notice, and what I wonder. Then answer the questions. So here is part 1, and here is part 2. So now I actually need to walk through the questions, circle anything I need to be looking for. And then I'm going to read. As I read, I'm annotating the text. I'm writing on the text. I'm circling. I'm highlighting. So let's go through the first page together. The Royal Banquet. Right this way. Follow us. Come along. Step lively. Here we go. Oh, I remember. These must be the king's advisors. Remember, those are the 5 guys that say the same thing in different words. they shouted, hopping from the wagon and bounding up the broad marble stairway. Milo and Talk followed close behind. Who? Milo and Talk. So already I know the who. It was a strange-looking palace, and if he didn't know better, he would have said that it looked exactly like an enormous book, standing on end with its front door in the lower part of the binding, just where they usually place the publisher's name. This makes sense. The setting, remember, is Dictionopolis, the city of words. So they're saying that the palace looks like a book. That's pretty clever. Once inside, they hurried down a long hallway, which glittered with crystal chandeliers and echoed with their footsteps. The walls and ceilings were covered with mirrors, whose reflections danced dizzily along with them, and the footmen bowed coldly. Oh, this makes me think of, I'm making a connection with the palace in Frozen, that big long hallway that she walks down with all the pictures on the walls. We must be terribly late, gasped the Earl nervously as they reached the tall doors of the banquet hall. I wonder why he's nervous. Why is he nervous? I'm thinking that maybe he's going somewhere or going to see somebody that makes him nervous. Maybe it's a scary person. It was a vast room full of people loudly talking and arguing. So a big room, people talking and arguing. The long table was carefully set with gold plates and linen napkins. An attendant stood behind each chair, and at the center, raised slightly above the others, was a throne covered in crimson cloth. Directly behind on the wall was the royal coat of arms, flanked by the flags of Dictionopolis. So here is the coat of arms. It is like the insignia or the icon for Dictionopolis, and it's on the wall. So they're in this big room. There's a long table with a red tablecloth, gold plates at each seat, and people talking and arguing. So this is where, who, what, where we're at the palace. And it looks like a banquet is about to take place. So do you see how we annotate the text as we go along? And we are reading. We are on the read step. So remember, you need to read through the rest of the text, annotate it, write on it, and then answer part 1 and part 2 questions.